Hey YouTube, Petey Grizz here. Today I just got back a standard from about the late 60s that I sent into Victorinox to have repaired. The clip blade had a broken tip on it and I sent it in to have repaired. But first, let's take a look at this. So it's a standard. It does not have toothpick and tweezers, which is basically, by the naming conventions, what makes it a standard and not a Spartan. They're basically the same thing, just one has toothpick and tweezers, one does not. And this one, to age it, there's a couple of things you can do. The first thing you can do is look at the tang stamp. This has a Victoria Officer Swiss tang stamp, which they used from 1957 to 1973, so you know it's inside that window. Has a 5-turn corkscrew, which they switched to a 4-turn corkscrew in the mid-70s. Has a reamer with no hole in it, as you would expect, since the hole was introduced in '85. Has a patent mark on the can opener. Now that tells you that this is from before 1971. The can opener was released and patented in 1951, and the patent was good for 20 years. So the patent stopped being placed on there after 20 years in 1971, and basically other companies were free to use this design as they see fit after that point. It has a bottle opener with a sharpened curved edge on the inside to act as a cable stripper, and that does work well, and they stopped doing that in the early 70s. Finally, it has the clip blade. Now this clip blade had about a little more than 1/8 of an inch snapped off the end of it. I sent the whole knife to Victorinox and they reprofiled the blade. They did not replace it, they just shortened it up and made it look like new, and they did a great job. So, you know, you would barely know, you know, without comparing it to another knife with the same blade, you wouldn't even realize that anything had been done to it. And of course, they put a nice sharp edge on it. I marked the knife as sentimental. I told them I didn't want them to change much, so they didn't put new scales on it. Now, if they were going to have to replace a blade or something, with something where they'd have to take the scales off, then they'll pretty much always put new scales on, because the old ones will just get messed up in the process of taking them off. But if they don't have to take the scales off and you don't tell them, you know, you want them replaced, they'll leave them on, so you still have that old look. Because as you can see, these scales not only curled up and raised up, but they actually shrunk. You can see the liner sticking out. And I just think that's interesting. I'm not sure how that works, but I guess it's just a chemical process. But they shrink, and then they're barely stretching to grab onto the bushings. You can actually see it in there, how it's kind of lifting up at the ends, where it's starting to come unhooked from those bushings. So, anyway, not much to this one. Just a short little video showing off another knife I got back from repair. If you have any questions about how to get a knife repaired, feel free to ask in the comments. They make it pretty easy for you, and their communication is excellent. So if you've got a knife you're looking at and you're considering not buying it because it needs a small repair, you know, it's definitely worth getting them repaired. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Petey Grizz out.